get ready because everything is about to change. There's a new way of living life and doing business that will blow your mind. This is a podcast all about the timing of life and the timing of success. It's what we call the Right on Time life. And you are listening to the Right on Time podcast with Amber McHugh. Hello again. Welcome to the Right on Time podcast. I am your host, Amber McHugh, and I am so excited today to introduce you to a friend, a colleague, a client of mine, Michelle Williams from theignitedteacher.com. And Michelle is an incredible human, as you will hear. She is involved in so many things. She serves and she shows up in a big way, from rechartering the teachers union in her area and stepping into the union president role, to teaching, to growing her business. Michelle's got a lot going on, and somehow she carves out time to build an incredible business and show up for other teachers through her membership model. And over the time that I've known Michelle, she has demonstrated some incredible business mindsets and some incredible business strategies. And as I've seen her business grow, as I've seen her get results, I knew I needed to share this with you, because especially if you're wondering, when am I going to get there? When am I going to get to my goals? Everything's changing. How do we adapt and navigate in these big seasons of change? Michelle has some steps and some strategies and some mindsets for you. So I cannot wait for you to get into this episode, to meet Michelle and to have some takeaways. Throughout this episode, Michelle shares some things that, some unique lingo, some stories. And so listen in to the end of the episode where I'll share a couple of tidbits to add a little, add some commentary to give you the full picture and the full perspective of some of what we're talking about. For example, Michelle mentions $100 bills. I'll tell you about that at the end. There's a TikTok story. I'll tell you about that at the end too, because I did not want to break the incredible conversation and the stories that Michelle had to dive into those, but I still want to make sure you have the full scoop. So I will see you again at the end of this episode, introducing the fabulous Michelle Williams. Michelle Williams, welcome to the Right on Time podcast. So glad you're here.
I'm excited to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Oh my gosh. You know, we've been talking for a while about we got to talk about this. We've got to share your story because you have so much goodness. We started talking just a little bit before we started recording. I'm like, I got to say what I'm going to say and what I'm going to ask for the recording, because I didn't want you who are listening to miss a beat of this. Michelle, before we dive in, let's share with everyone a little bit about who you are and what you do over at theignitedteacher.com.
My name is Michelle Williams. I am a full-time math educator. That means I teach math full-time as a teacher. And what I do is I help math teachers of struggling learners to close learning gaps and increase their student achievement with those special population students that are below grade level learners, special education students, and English language learners.
Incredible. So a couple big things there. You're working full time.
Yeah.
You are running a business at the same time. And you, how do you find that side hustle, so to speak, life? How do you do that? How do you navigate it?
It's a lot of early mornings and just really trying to be productive. And that's one of the things that freshly implemented, helped me with a lot to be more productive, because when I first started, it was not my thing.
Oh my goodness. And that was one of the things. So Michelle and I, full disclosure, work together in a program that we have, that we used to run called Freshly Implemented. It's been restructured and rebranded to be called the Modern CEO. And it's so true. We worked together for a couple of years and you came in, you're like, I need to get some stuff done. Like, what is this planning? How do we plan? And then pull it through to implementation. And it's funny, Michelle and I would have conversations and we'd be strategizing on something in her business and she'd start to go into the details of math, or I'd try to pretend to go into the details of math. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, not gonna happen. So it's so funny because as business owners, depending on our niches, depending on our background, we can speak a different language. So Michelle and we speak different languages, but there's something that bridges the overlap because
I think on the financials, I can understand. And that's what made me realize, I teach math and understand math, but business math and application of it, it's something totally different.
Yeah, it's so true. We can take our subject matter expertise, bring it into our business. But to run a business in general, I mean, even the financials, math is a great example. There's a lot of math going on. And I would say to Michelle, I'm like, I can do finance. Give me finance. I don't want math. No. Oh, incredible. So one of the things that is unique about your business model is, yes, you support teachers as well, but it's through a membership model. Can you describe a little bit about how your membership is organized?
So my membership, first of all, it's for teachers in that demographic. And what it does is it helps them to create a math intervention plan as well as strengthen their own math content knowledge to come up with something that they can actually implement easily and take it if they leave a school or go to another position. A lot of times we find ourselves in education where we have these programs that the school district purchases, but when you leave the school, you don't have that system. So my membership supports them in creating a unique system that works for them and the demographic and can be taken to another place or school or position and implemented and tweaked so that they can implement it there as well.
So stinking awesome. Michelle, as I hear you speak, and we've just been talking in this episode for a few minutes, but I am quickly reminded, like, oh man, Michelle knows her stuff. And did you always have that confidence in knowing your stuff and knowing that it could help other people and in serving and helping other people in your membership?
Definitely not. When I started working with you, it was rough at the beginning because I can remember, I always bring this up, our first conversation, because we have the onboarding call. And I was like, nobody wants to work with me. Nobody wants to collaborate. And I was like, ugh. And you listen as patiently as you always do. And you was like, you know what? You said, if I give my visibility up, people will start seeking me out. And that's what happened over the course of my first year in your program. And this year I've had people reach out to me. I just don't have the time to speak at all the conferences, but it's really good. I have a webinar coming up with Explain Everything, which is one of the platforms that I really, really like. And that's in December, but that confidence wasn't there because when I first started, it was like, ugh, what am I doing?
It's so funny that you mentioned the visibility thing, because I know that we are not alone. I mean, I feel this from time to time too. What am I doing? What are we doing here? And so we're not alone in wondering, like, and wondering and bringing the confidence forward. And I was thinking about, as we're preparing for this conversation, a post you shared in the community where you said, someone had just reached out to you randomly and you're like, I've been working on this for 9 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, now it's just coming out like constantly. And you even saying here, I don't have time for all of the requests and the invitations. What a pivot. And that's really a short period of time that this happened in. What were some of the key steps to get not only that visibility up, but, you know, I sort of talk about like get the flywheel turning. So you've got this momentum and you're not working quite as hard to get there as we are in sometimes the beginning. What were some of the key shifts that happened so that now you've got more requests than you have time for?
So one of the things that I learned in your program was the $100 bills, which that was more than, it went over my head at first. I was like, what $100 bill? But it was like, keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
So if I was working on visibility, all the goals I had, everything that I produced, content that I put out, you know, it was towards that goal. Getting my visibility up, creating videos, also creating my YouTube channel, which helped with a lot of my visibility because I already had a blog, but actually adding the video piece helped a lot. And really just strategizing, trying and having small attainable goals. That was one of the things that actually helped as well. Keeping the main thing, and you know, not expecting Rome to be built in a day, so to speak.
Yeah. You know, we see those people who grow their businesses very quickly.
Yeah.
And Michelle, you are an example of this as well, right? But we don't necessarily see all the things happening behind the scenes. And, you know, as we look, sometimes I feel like when I'm standing here today and I look 2 years out, that feels like a good ways off. But here we are, right? Just over 2 years of when we met and all the other things that you've been doing around that. And it flies by so fast. You, in the last 2 years, built your membership community. Tell us a little bit about that journey, where your membership started and where you are now.
So my membership and the height of the pandemic, and I can say your program supported me through, because it was like everything was on fire and the educational system was taken by storm with the whole shift to virtual learning. So that first year after we closed down, I decided to create this membership. I was like, I think we're going to need this. So the Math Intervention Academy was created in October 2020. So I launched it and I had 5 little members. And I can remember you saying that, yeah, that's great. You know, keep pushing. And that 5 went to 10. And then that 10, I was like, okay, I can get 10 members. I'm going to get 20 and then 20. And then, you know, those incremental goals. And today I'm sitting at 65 new members. And it's funny because it's like in the course of a year, it grew that fast.
It's incredible. I didn't realize, I kind of lost track of that timeline, that you started the Academy in 2020, October 2020. That's amazing. Wow. Because it was a wild year, as we all know.
It was. I was like, am I crazy for doing this? Because I was like, oh, people were so distracted. It was just so much going on. But I was like, I felt like it was the right move to make at the right time. And I was like, eventually it'll grow over time. And that's one of the things that I liked about your program. It focused on, you know, that growth over time model. Whereas we see all these other people saying that, oh, get $100,000, make $100,000 and have some outlandish number, but it really doesn't work like that. It's those incremental goals and focusing on your main thing and constantly pushing and getting it out there.
Constantly getting it out there, which you have obviously done so well. I was continuously inspired by, you're like, okay, 5 more. Okay, 10 more. Like, and before you know it, that overnight moment of, wait, Michelle's already at 65 members, and you stay in it. And there are other people that we know. There are other people in the entrepreneurial space. Heck, I've started projects and I'm like, oh no, done with that. How did you stay in the game? You know, because sometimes people have like 5 people. I want to get to 100. Again, that 2-year mark, it feels so far off. How did you bring yourself back to the main thing on a regular basis to stay in it? Because if we don't stay in it, we're not going to see the growth. So
Well, it was my members that really, I would always, when I felt like, oh my God, the membership, this, or I got to do this, or I have to do this for the membership. It was always a member that will reach out to me, or I'd get an email from someone saying, keep pushing, or you have helped me so much. Your content, your videos are great. And it kept me on track. And I'm gonna be honest with you, because there are times where you feel like, oh my God, and I work full time. And sometimes it's difficult, but knowing that you're helping people, and I think we talked about, you know, I'm not a money driven person. Yeah. So it has to be more for me. So when people reached out to me, it helped me to keep pushing. Mm-hmm. And then I had the group support. So it really helped a lot to keep me focused on what I needed to do and to get done and to stay in it.
Oh, I love that. You are really incredible at recognizing and sitting in those moments of hold on a second. Like, this is the thing I was going after, right? The interviews, the visibility, the impacting and supporting teachers in their interventions. And every time one of those messages would come in, oh, I don't know about every time. I don't know about every time, but when some of those messages would come in and you would share them, you would sit in them for a moment. And many people just drive by like, okay, good. Okay, next, like keep going. And I think it's really incredible how you sit in that space and you listen to the feedback of your teachers. Is there ever a case where listening to the feedback or taking in that feedback has slowed you down?
Yes, because so for me, it was hard for me to look at where they are on their journey, because as an expert or someone who has been doing this for so long, I had to really go back and really put myself in those shoes when I was starting out, listening and making things smaller and more digestible, because people think with a membership you have to have this overload of content. And I felt that way at first, but then I realized they have to digest it the way and where they are at their own capacity and own way that they process information. So that was one of the learning curves that I'm still working on it. And sometimes I find myself putting a lot of content in there, but it has slowed me down, especially as the membership gets older and more mature. It has helped me to say, okay, where are my members at? What are they asking me for? What are they showing up for? And really changing the way that I do things. Like even with, I've started some video marketing with them with BombBomb, you know, because teachers are busy. So reading the email is a lot for some. So I've added that video piece, and I've gotten some really good reception from it, with them watching it more often than reading the emails.
This is incredible. This brings up 2 questions for me. The first is that, you know, slowing down could sometimes be perceived as not a good thing. What I heard you describe, though, is actually I slow down, I have to process and listen to what my community needs. And it sounds like that could ultimately make the experience and your results and their results better. Would you agree with that?
I would agree totally, 100%, because at the end of the day, and I've been focusing really on transforming, what are they like before? So when a lot of people come to my membership, they're looking for strategies and a plan, direction. So what do I want them to be after they join my membership? What kind of teacher I'm looking for? A confident one who has a plan, has strategy, is confident in moving those students along. So that slowing down process helps, and it makes their experience a lot more, and it helps with the transformation that I want for them. Even if they exit the membership, they leave it in a different way.
So good. Because I completely agree with that slow down to speed up mindset. It's hard. It is hard, especially when the flywheel gets going and you have momentum and like, okay, wait, bring it back, because this is ultimately going to give us more momentum. But that is so beautiful. And the other thing that you said when you were speaking about the consistency and what you were implementing was that you used a marketing strategy or a marketing tool to implement one of your marketing strategies called BombBomb. And so for anyone who wants to check that out, actually, Michelle, will you share a little bit about what BombBomb is?
So BombBomb, what it is, it's a email marketing tool where you can implement videos for your emails. And what it does, it also has an analytic tool. Obviously, I teach math, so I'm interested on that side. The analytic tool to see what the engagement is, because with the marketing, unless people actually respond, you don't really know what your engagement is. So it really helps with them taking action. You can put call to actions in there, and it gives people kind of a balance. Some people are video consumers, some people like to read. I'm a video consumer, so I was happy to implement it. And some people read emails, so it gives a nice balance to your emails for both types of people how they consume content.
So good. And this is a great example of something that you do so incredibly well. And maybe this is part of your analytical brain and where we have that definite commonality. But you look what's working, what's not working. You look at, you know what, this is kind of working, but I think it could be working better. And you look at what's happening in the market and you adapt, which I think is so critical in today's landscape where things are changing fast everywhere right now. I think more rapid than in many of our lives ever before. And they're changing rapidly everywhere, and they're especially changing in digital marketing. So the fact that you adapt and assess, I think, is an incredible strength of yours. How do you do it? How do you do it, Michelle? For everybody who's in this space of rapid change, was like, what do we do? How do you navigate this so seamlessly?
I think it comes from teaching, because with intervention, everything is based on data. So our data points drive our instruction. So I'll implement a strategy. Does it work? If it's not working, what can we adjust? Not throw the baby out with the bathwater. So for marketing with my membership and implementing things, I take the same approach. How can we make it better? If I'm in teaching for intervention, how do I make the strategy better or work for the students, or do I start over? So it's constant questioning and really looking at what's working. I know some people get emotionally tied to certain things. I've been doing it this way, but the impact is really what I'm looking for. Is it working? If it's not working, we need to look at it to see if we tweak it, add, or just start over.
Oh, that's so good. The impact is what I am looking for. And if it's not having impact, tweak it. That's a total quotable, Michelle. So I have said it again so I could lock it in my brain. That's phenomenal. And one of the things I know as we were working together, I heard you say a couple of times, I don't want to do reels. I don't like Instagram. I don't want to be out there. And I know so many people can relate to that. For me right now, it's like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do TikTok. I'm a little disgruntled on TikTok. I'll share that story after the episode for anyone who wants to stick around to listen. But Michelle, so let's take, for example, the case of Instagram and Reels, because I heard you say, I figure out if it's not working, how can I make this work for my students or my teachers? And what I was thinking is you took that Instagram and Reels and you didn't dive right into it. You sort of observed, you looked at the landscape, and you also made it and designed a way where it could work for you. So tell us about that situation where you're like, I don't want to do it. And then you did.
Instagram, yeah. I was not trying to do Instagram. I was on it, but I was not. And then the crazy thing is I had over 2,000 followers. Like, I was not trying to grow my Instagram following. But it eventually Reels came out. And then, they were promoting IGTV. So I looked at what I was doing in my marketing strategy, and I was like, okay, how can I make Reels work within what I'm already doing? Because that was my concern. It was like Instagram was so photo heavy. So when they started bringing the video in, I was like, okay, this could work. And it softened my outlook with Instagram. So I started doing a few little reels and really got some good traction on it.
Yeah. So. It was incredible watching. You're like, I don't see, I don't think, and you could tell like you were thinking it over, you're assessing. And I think that's also one of the beautiful things of how you approach things. You will dive in and you own it, but you are strategic and you're thoughtful. And, that's that's a great characteristic of leaders. Some of the best leaders, they assess the situation first. We make the plan. Of course, there are times when things are happening and we don't have time to make a plan. We just got to go. But the expertise and the practicing of strategic planning, when things are on fire and we just have to go, your practice, you can move through it a lot faster, which we've all gotten some practice at the last couple of years. But the more we practice it intentionally and being strategic, the easier, better it is. And you are so phenomenal at this, Michelle. As you think about the future of your business and your goals, what are you thinking about? What are your goals? What are your intentions for your business and your community?
So for me, for the foreseeable future, I am looking to grow my membership tier for teachers to 100 members by the end of the year. Yeah. And next year, I am looking to add another tier for my membership for coaches, consultants, and district personnel, because they have a different, unique need. So yes, they need the content knowledge, but it's also another side, which is supporting the other tier that I have, and really trying to change the relationship between district personnel, teachers, really meshing it to show teachers coaches and consultants, how to really support teachers who are doing the work. And that's one of my goals. And I got that from you. You always talked about, it has to be, money can't be the end goal. So what impact are you trying to make? So I always think about that as I'm adding to my business. What impact am I trying to make? What change am I trying to make, or positive change in our profession? And that's what I'm looking at, how we can work together and better support teachers instead of changing the way that they teach, but looking at it through their lens and helping them improve what they're implementing.
You are incredible. As you were speaking there, before you said, I got that from you, I was thinking, oh my gosh, Michelle, you have so much heart. You care about the bigger picture so much, which reminded me, you don't just teach and run a business. You are also very involved in the teaching community in your local area. Can you tell us a little bit about that, so everybody has a full picture of how?
Yeah, so for some reason I decided to recharter a union for my school district. So yeah, I am the president of our local union. So really trying to empower teachers to understand that we are more than teachers through my union work.
Mhm.
And, teaching is what we do, but it's not who we are. We have other gifts and talents that, people want to see and hear from us. Just that's
Right.
just one part of what we do. So,
So stinking incredible. Okay, so union president, rechartered, school teaching, and running a business. Do you ever, what do you see for yourself as you look 5 to 10 years out? Do you anticipate continuing to run the business and teach and stay as involved as you are? What's the strategic direction you're looking at?
well, this is my 21st year in education, and I am going to transition out of the school system. It is time. When I first started with you, I was like, oh, I can't see me doing that. But it's time. During COVID, I contracted COVID, and I had some downtime because I don't slow down as much as I need to. But I had no choice but to slow down. And during COVID, I was like, it's time for me to start making that transition within 2 years out of the school
Oh, within
system.
a couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Michelle, congratulations on that retirement that's on the horizon from one thing. And you will continue to run your business beyond that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. And I've started my consulting side back up because on Hurricane Harvey, I had a tree fall on my house. So I really had not been promoting that. So that's another side that I'm actually bringing back to my business model. So,
For someone who's listening to this and thinking, oh my gosh, you got all these things going on. One of the things that comes to mind for me is there are projects I want to start. And I caught myself the other day after many, many years of knowing this and doing this work. I caught myself because I said, I wish I had more time too. And I was like, wait a second, Amber, you've got time. It's just, what are we prioritizing? So for people who are thinking, and what am I prioritizing? I'm going to speak for myself. What am I prioritizing? And so for people who are thinking, I'm pretty busy and I know if I can walk this path in some way, shape, or form, I can get to my goals, but it is hard to get that consistency. It's hard to do, air quotes here, all the things. What guidance or recommendations would you have for people who are in that space of wanting to move their plans forward? They got a lot going on.
so in your words, to get into action. so, I think that it's really prioritizing what your goals are. At the beginning of the year, like as we move through quarter 4, I've started to look at what do I want to do for next year and really prioritizing those things, writing down what's important and what is going to move my business forward, as well as those personal goals that I have as well. And that's really what I do. And then just kind of breaking it down, what tasks need to be done to actually move forward. For example, one of my goals this year was to host a webinar every month for my visibility as well as growing my email list. And what do I need to do to meet that goal? So to get into action, it takes very small steps. Just planning them out. What do you need to do? What is the first thing? Just getting started is the hardest part. And everything else seems to fall into place. And once you have a system, it just becomes second nature.
Oh my gosh, I could not agree more. And it is something, like I said, after many, many years of growing a business, multiple businesses, right? We're very similar in that we both have a lot going on. And it's so hard to sometimes start when we're making that shift or when we're layering in a new marketing strategy as the landscape changes. So start small and watch it grow and build. I think something else you said about where am I trying to go? What are those milestones? And you shared this, right? 100 by the end of the year, right? You have these goals and these milestones. So often I think it's easy. And actually I was just talking to a team member the other day who like, I just want it to be done. Like, I just want to arrive at the destination. And I feel you. Like, I wish that could be the reality, but it's those small steps. And I think the more we can break down the steps, we'll show progress to our goal for ourselves, which is inspiring. Like, okay, I did it. I just got to do the next thing, like one foot right in front of the other. And before you know it, like, oh, we're there already. Like when you posted that visibility post, you're like, I can't believe it. Like, wait, it's here. We're finally here. It just sort of happens when you stack up these micro moves. Michelle, I am so grateful to you for hanging out here with us on the Right on Time podcast. Before we wrap up, is there anything that we missed, or as we've talked, was there anything you're like, oh, I don't want to forget to share this, or does anything come to mind? I want to give you the final words.
Yeah, and as you were talking, I was like, you know what? How did I learn those little small steps? And your Fresh Start workbook was the thing that did. Yeah, it did. I was like, how did I know how to do this? But yeah, I wanted to mention that your Fresh Start workbook. And I was like, when I first bought it, I was like, I don't get it. But then like the next year in your program, I was like, this is so simple. Like it was funny, but I wanted to mention that because your Fresh Start notebook workbook was so instrumental in helping me focus on that goal, real simple, and the steps that I needed to take to get into action. So
that is so funny. One of the things I heard you say, like, I didn't get it, but it was so simple. I have a tendency in my head to overcomplicate things. So I'm always asking myself, what is the simplest way we could do this? Michelle, you are brilliant. I adore you. For anyone who wants to follow your journey and check out what you're up to, where can they find you?
You can find me on, first of all, my website at theignitedteacher.com. I am at The Ignited Teach on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Same handle. Also, you can watch my videos on YouTube under The Ignited Teacher.
Oh, Michelle, thank you so much for your time today. We'll link all of those resources up so you can follow Michelle and watch her journey to soar past her goals, celebrate her retirement when this comes. There's lots of good stuff in front of you. I'm so grateful for you for carving out some time to be here with us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, it was so much fun hanging out with her and you in this episode of the Right on Time podcast. Michelle mentioned $100 bills, and $100 bills are simply a way of talking about keeping the main thing. Is this the most important thing right now? And asking myself, is this a $100 bill? And it comes from a superpower that I have to blow money into the room that you are sitting in right now. Yes. There is about to be money blowing into the room that you are sitting in right now. There's a catch, of course, because to have a superpower this good, there's going to be a catch. The money's only going to be blowing in for 30 seconds. And they're going to be fives, tens, and hundreds. You have 30 seconds to get as much as you want. Go, get the money. Okay, it's over. Fast 30 seconds because it's pretend here. So did you have a strategy when you went into that money blowing exercise? Or did you just grab whatever you could? So maybe you walked away with some fives, maybe you walked away with some tens, maybe you got lucky and got a couple 100s. Or did you go for the $100 bills? There's 100. There's 100. Thank you. There's 100. Oh, another 100 over there behind your ear. Oh, 100. And because you were strategic, you walk away with $1,000, maybe 2,000, because you were strategic. So this story reflects my invitation to you that Michelle introduced to focus on the $100 bills, or if bills, as I recently learned, does not reflect the money and it only reflects bills to pay, where you are located, ignore those bills, rename it, just go after the cash. Go after the big money. $100 bills in our situation. So that is a story that I wanted to share with you to make sure that you bring to top of mind on a regular basis your $100 bills. And this applies not only for our businesses, but for our lives. What are the most important things in our lives right now? And are we focused on those truly? Michelle, we also brought up TikTok. And so at some point, I'm going to have to get my buns on TikTok. But when TikTok first came out, I went and set up my account with my name, full name. That's where I go. I like to have my name, my profile. When a new social media platform comes out, I try to get my name first. And I did on TikTok. I had my name. I posted one TikTok. It was an image of a turtle. We were in Ethiopia at the time. And we got back from Ethiopia in March 2020. And my daughter wanted something to do. So she went on my TikTok without me knowing it on my phone. And she changed my name. So I lost my handle. So I've got some feelings there that I got to get over so I can get on TikTok. I did, and last weekend, go over and set up my Amber McHugh new handle, Amber_McHugh over on TikTok. So I'm warming up to that coming back. I'm not there yet, but that was the TikTok story. And as we think about implementing new strategies, stepping into what's next for you in your business, I really want to call attention to what Michelle shared about taking it one step at a time. One step at a time. It's all happening for you. It's coming for you right on time. But yes, we absolutely have to listen to those nudges, and we actually have to take the step forward toward those goals. And if you are stuck on your goals, Michelle mentioned the Fresh Start Workbook, which you can check out at freshstartworkbook.com. It is a business workbook and planning guide to guide you through the strategies that you may want to implement in your business. It's a space where you custom design what your vision is and how you will move toward that vision. And yes, there is a whole section where we focus on bringing those plans and that vision and your goals to life. So hop on over to freshstartworkbook.com if you want to check that out. And Michelle mentioned the program that we work in together called the Modern CEO, formerly called Freshly Implemented. And if you want to hop on our Modern CEO wait list, because it is not currently open for enrollment, you can zip on over to ambermchugh.com/modern CEO. And that's it. That's the full scoop. I wanted to make sure you had it all. I so enjoyed being here in this episode of the Right on Time podcast with you. And until we are connecting again next time, I hope you have an incredible week. Mwah. All the love. Remember, you are right on time.